I thought you were going to introduce my record, but with the latest allegations against Tennessee, let's hold up on what my record is because I expect them to vacate some wins, and that's going to help my record a little bit. Okay? I mean, me personally, I got to question my wife's commitment to winning. You know, I mean, I don't know how much she's committed if she's not engaging in some of these things. I didn't know that was fair play. So,
well, I was kind of hoping to avoid this topic, but it was inevitable that I was going to have to bring it up, especially now with the new update that's come from Eli Crybaby Drinkwits. So let's go ahead and talk about why this has happened. And let me just go ahead and say, for the start, for the people that have been living under a rock, the Tennessee Vols back in the end of the 2020 season, they ended up having there was an allegation coming in that Tennessee was paying recruits to come to Knoxville and things like that. And of course, a lot of people didn't believe it. And then the allegations came out. Tennessee they basically filed out the allegations themselves. They showed that there was proof behind it. And, Jeremy Pruitt got fired along with pretty much sweeping the entire coaching staff. And some more news has come out more recently about what happened. Well, of course, we already knew that they were paying players through McDonald's bags. Laugh about it. We already knew all that. We knew why and what happened exactly. Of course, they reducted like 70-something scholarships from Tennessee. Huge loss for a big program. Huge loss for any program. That many scholarship losses, yeah, it's a big deal. And some people are going to say that it's not much of any type of punishment. That is far from the truth. 70 scholarship reductions, that's like 2 or 3 classes of reductions right there. So, yeah, big loss for the Tennessee team. You don't even need to have a bowl ban in that one, really. But, yeah, with all of that information being out, and, of course, we know now that even his wife was involved in that. That's the biggest scandal involving a player's or a coach's wife since Dan Mullen's wife. And I won't get into that. But anyway, of course, with all this information getting out, it's upholded and basically summoned a bunch of these baby-back, crybaby college football fans who are foaming out the mouth right now, expecting for all the wins in the Jeremy Pruitt era to be vacated. And something I noticed among these last few weeks of all this information being revealed is that the main fan bases you see crying about this, South Carolina and Mizzou fans. Now, there's got to be a reason for that, right? Well, it's because, Jeremy Pruitt, the worst head coach in Tennessee football history, worse than Butch Jones, worse than Derek Dooley, worse than either of those guys. He is the worst head coach in Vol football history. And yet, after all that, he still made South Carolina and Mizzou his bitch. Isn't that just pathetic? Isn't that just the saddest imaginable thing you can imagine? That's like if Chad Morris at Arkansas, sorry to bring that up for the Pig Time fans, but that would be like if he was like beating Kentucky every year. And Kentucky fans came on after there was an allegation from 3 years ago. Wah, wah, wah. So it's one thing when the fans are crying like a bunch of babies about it, but it's a whole nother when your clown of a head coach, Eli Drinkwits, is sitting here talking about how all these wins in the Jeremy Pruitt era need to be vacated. They need to be vacated right now. It would really help our record. Well, of course it would. Of course it would. Tennessee, even with Jeremy Pruitt, owned you. They dominated you. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt pretty much took off your nerd-ass glasses and punched you, socked you right in the face. Jeez. And I don't understand. It's not like while Jeremy Pruitt was at Tennessee, he got a whole bunch of wins. It was like 16-19. Why do you care? Why do you care? I don't care if he was undefeated or winless against Mizzou. You as a head coach should be worrying about getting your players ready for the next football season and not crying like a baby back biatch about 2020. I don't understand. I really don't understand. This is the first sign of what is to be a bad football coach. Why are you coming out and crying like a baby back biatch about Jeremy Pruitt when everything is already passed? Of course, now we know everything that's happened, but it's way too late to do anything about it. The coaches that were involved in the allegations are gone. The players that were involved in the allegations are either gone, graduated, or they transferred somewhere else. If those players were ineligible to play for the remaining season, you'd have to hear Alabama and Oklahoma fans crying about it, because those are the teams that got those players. I don't understand why you're coming on here and crying about it. I really don't. Here you are as a head coach going into the 2022 college football season with Tennessee having a brand new head coach and everything like that, and you're crying about 2 wins. 2 wins. That's it. It's not like this. If they vacated those wins, suddenly Eli Drinkwits is a good head coach. No. Removing two losses from your resume, you're still a bad head coach. You're still a bad head coach. That's the reality of the situation here. Eli Drinkwits is a terrible head coach, and Mizzou is a terrible football program. They haven't done anything in the SEC ever since they got here. At least there's some argument you could find for Texas A&M when they got to the SEC. But no, you can't find anything for Mizzou. They suck. They suck since they got here, and they will suck till they leave. Go back to the Big 12. Nobody wants your bum here. Golly, how pathetic is that? To get on social media and wah about 2 losses to Jeremy Pruitt. But of course, if I were a head coach, I'd probably want those wins vacated too. I would never want to see where I lost to the worst coach in that program's football history, huh? Pathetic. And I love, and this is my favorite part, Mizzou fans, and their defense, it's like the Vandy fan argument. When you're talking about how Mizzou's done nothing ever since they got to the SEC, the first thing they'll bring up, well, what about 2018 though? Remember when they beat you 51-17? Remember 2018? Remember 2018? Yeah, that'll show them. Yeah. You know the funniest part about that is, they act like saying that suddenly makes Eli Drinkwits a good head coach, when in 2018, he was never there. You had a different head coach back then. Woo! Congratulations. The only time you beat Jeremy Pruitt, you didn't even have Eli Drinkwits on your team. That is pathetic. You suck. Just admit it. You suck as a football team. You suck. This is probably the biggest amount of relevance Eli Drinkwits has gotten ever since he got at Mizzou. The most relevant thing this man has done throughout the college football season is cry about another team that owns him. That's pathetic. That is just the saddest thing. Take a lesson from Shane Beamer, Eli Drinkwits. Focus on your own team. You don't see Shane Beamer coming on crying like a baby back bum about we should have those wins in our schedule. We should have those wins I should have those wins on my resume. It's not fair. And you don't see Shane Beamer crying about that yet. But golly, Mizzou fans, take a hint. If you couldn't beat Jeremy Pruitt, what makes you think that suddenly you're going to be able to beat Josh Heupel or something like that? This is why they're cheering for something really bad to happen to Tennessee regarding these allegations. But tough luck, Mizzou fans. We're not going anywhere. The punishment's done. The players are gone. The coaches are gone. It's a new coaching staff. Instead of crying about something that you can't control, how about you focus on not sucking this year?